Hello and welcome to the 12th episode of Spilling the Green Beans, my weekly live gardening show. Today, indeed, live from my garden, where I share with you my green secrets to inspire you to start growing your own vegetables. I am Emily, your host and creator of Easy Urban Gardening, the system for growing your own vegetables on a balcony or terrace in town. Thank you for spending time with me today when I talk about radishes. Growing vegetables can seem daunting and hard work, but I share with you my green secrets, the most crucial techniques to make it fun and easy. You'll also learn how to take advantage of the broad health benefits of gardening and how to cook delicious meals with your own vegetables. I am spilling the green beans. But before we dive in, I want to share with you that I'm starting my new course, Your Urban Paradise, on the 15th of April. It's all about how to grow vegetables in town, of course, in an easy and fun way. You will design, build, plan, and sow your garden in just 4 weeks. To get more information or to join, follow the link in the show notes. Okay, last week I spoke about making a gardening plan and how important that is. Of course, this is one of the things you would learn in the Your Urban Paradise program. But today we'll only talk partly about gardening and also about cooking and eating your harvest, as today is another vegetable episode and we're honoring the radish. It's an amazing vegetable to grow in a garden, especially when you want to garden with children, because it's an easy veggie and above all, it's a quick one. As of this time of year, like late March or early April, the seeds will sprout on average in 5 to 8 days. And nothing is more motivating and fascinating for every gardener, especially if you're a small one, than seeing the seedlings appear. Around 2 weeks after sowing, you will thin the radishes, and another 2 weeks later, you can start harvesting them. So it's from seeds to radish in about 4 weeks, and there is always something to do. As I said, an amazing veggie to grow with kids. But let me dive into the growing of radishes a little bit deeper. Radishes are considered a small vegetable within the Easy Urban Gardening system, and that means you can grow 16 of them in a 30 by 30 centimeter square. After you made 16 holes, you will sow ideally 2 seeds per hole, but the seeds are quite tiny, so I totally understand you ending up with 3 per hole. Just try to be stingy with the seeds, as Easy Urban gardeners don't like spilling resources. Once your seedlings are around 2 to 3 centimeters and have 4 or more leaves, you have to thin them. What is thinning, you might ask yourself? Well, thinning means taking away all the seedlings but 1 per hole. I mean, in the end, you want 60 nice and big radishes, and that is also the maximum amount of them you can grow in your square. So every extra seedling will not have enough space to grow. Actually, it will compete over space and other resources with its direct neighbor, and you'll end up with tiny and skinny radishes, if any at all. So it's very important to thin. It's heartbreaking, but it's very important. So how do you thin? You grab a tiny pair of scissors and cut away all the seedlings, but the strongest one that you want to keep. So please, please, please don't pull out your seedlings, as the risk of damaging the fragile roots of the remaining one is huge, besides the risk of removing all of them at one go. And then you end up with no radish at all in that one spot. You don't want that. It's important with everything, but also with radishes, to water your seedlings regularly to keep the soil moist but not wet. The moist soil is important because, of course, a radish bulb, we all know, contains a lot of water, so it does need it. But a wet soil actually makes the radish watery in taste as well, instead of that nice, strong flavor it should have. So once your radishes grew to decent little plants, you could already start harvesting single leaves to enrich your lunch sandwich or salad. And as of 4 weeks after seeding, you should be able to start harvesting. You can choose to harvest only the biggest ones. You can determine them by feeling with your fingers, like just under the soil, and then squeeze a little bit. Then you feel the radish bulb, and then you just see whether they are big enough for your taste. You can also, in general, give them a little bit more time, like the whole batch, maybe like instead of 4 weeks, give them 5 weeks, and then harvest them all at once and settle for some bigger and some smaller ones. The advantage of the latter is that in that case, you will also have more reddish greens at once. And instead of using them on your sandwich or in your salad, you can now also make a pesto with them. You just blend the washed and dried leaves with olive oil, a small garlic clove, a pinch of salt, some freshly ground pepper, nuts of your choice. So pine nuts, hazelnuts, and macadamia nuts are really good ones, into my opinion. Walnuts and pecan nuts are, of course, also possible, but they strengthen the slightly bitter taste of the radish greens. So that's a choice, whether you like it or not. And then finally, you can add a pinch or two of grated Parmesan, and your pesto is ready to go. If you have sowed maybe not only 1 square for 16 radishes, but 2 or 3 because you really like radishes, then you might think about making a bigger batch of pesto from all the greens, and then, preserve them in little glass jars for a longer time. In that case, you have to blanch the leaves briefly before using them. And blanching in this case is literally like, 10 or 20 seconds in boiling hot water, and then out of the water and immediately into cold water. Okay, another slightly different way than thinly sliced or quartered on a sandwich or in a salad, you can eat radishes roasted. Really, really nice. Try it. You coat them with melted butter, and you can have them whole, halved, quartered, whatever you want. But I like to do them whole or just halved. So you coat them with melted butter or ghee and salt and pepper. And then spread them out on a baking tray and roast for roughly up to 20 minutes in the oven on 220 degrees Celsius or 425 Fahrenheit. Halfway through, so after 10 minutes, you toss the radishes. You just take a spoon and toss them around. And then at the end of the 20 minutes, you toss them around a second time. You add finely chopped garlic and you roast for another 3, maybe 4 minutes. It's a little bit depending on your oven. So have a good look, because as soon as garlic colors too dark, it becomes bitter. So be careful with that. Maybe add the garlic and turn down the heat of your oven to from 220 to 180 Celsius or something like that. You have to figure that out a little bit for your oven. And then you garnish them with chopped parsley, dill, and chives. And then you have a lovely side dish with fish. Or you can even, then after roasting them, you can still use them as an enrichment for your mixed salad. Radishes are also delicious when stewed. So mix a little bit of stock or bouillon with a dash of white wine, your favorite herb mixture. Stag sage, rosemary is nice, thyme is nice to go in it, celery green, whatever you prefer. And then add some spices to the stock as well. Like what I like to add is cardamom, lemongrass, maybe a little piece of ginger. And then you can, you just stew them until they just softened. So don't make them mashy, just make them softened. And that, of course, is also a very nice side dish. But you can also use the stewed radishes to replace your potatoes in something like a boeuf bourguignon. Or they are also really nice served with pulled pork. Then finally, radishes are ideal to pickle. For instance, sweet and sour. So in vinegar with sugar, and then spiced with juniper berries, Sichuan pepper, sumac, and rosemary. Go and try it. Really nice. Do you have a different favorite way of preparing and eating your radishes? Let me know by sharing it on Instagram using my handle, Emily's Easy Urban Gardening, or #Emily's. And I am always in for inspiration when it comes to good food. So thank you for spending time with me in the garden. I hope it's going to stay this way for the rest of the season, that I don't have to do the live shows anymore from inside, but fingers crossed. And I hope to meet you soon in your garden, maybe during the next round of the Your Urban Paradise program, starting on the 15th of April. This is a 4 weeks online course, including weekly live Q&A sessions, in which you learn to design, build, plan, and sow your garden in town. So on your balcony, your terrace, your little small town garden. You don't need much space. It's really, really fun and interactive course. And for more information, you find the link to my website in the show notes, on which you can read all the information about the course and, of course, also enroll. Did you enjoy this episode of Spilling the Green Beans? Then please share, subscribe, and give me a YouTube review so more people can enjoy the show. I see you in next week's episode when I talk about my indoor nursery, because now is the time to start your summer vegetables indoors, and that requires a few specific techniques to keep them and kind of like nurture them ready to go outdoors end of May. So that's for next week. For now, enjoy the afternoon. I hope it is as nice and sunny where you are as it is here. And I see you next week. Bye.